Ang sabi po ng Pag-asa, mukhang giginaw na ang ating mga umaga at ang ating mga gabi dahil papasok na daw po yung hanging amihan. Abay, sana nga naman dahil ito mga panahon na to, ito na yung panahon na medyo napapasarap ang tulog. Lalong-lalo na work from home, ako baka masobrahan ng tulog. Lalo na ngayon papasok po ang hanging amihan, talaga namang mahirap bumangon. Pero pag umaga ng Sabado, syempre kailangan kayong bumangon para po panoorin ang ating palatuntunan. Ha? Maganda na po ang panahon, bagamat alam natin may mga nagbabadya pang mga bagyo. Kaya po sana ay nasa mabuti kayong kalagayan. Isa na lamang ang hindi maganda ang panahon doon po sa Amerika. Saan patuloy po na naghahanap sila ng bagong pangulo o kaya ng ihahalal na pangulo. Alam niyo po yung eleksyon, para ding para ding laro yan ng basketball ha? Minsan lumalamang at minsan naman naghahabol. Pagka nahabol, ganun talaga. Ha? Meron talagang ganung mga pagkakataon sa laro, sa sports, na malaki ang lamang mo, biglang hahabulin ka. Meron nga panukala ngayon sa NBA na pagka daw lumampas ng 20 ang lamang sa fourth quarter, itigil na laro. Aba, hindi naman ako naniniwala dun sa gano'n. Dahil alam naman natin, mahigit pa sa 20 puntos ang lamang, inahabol pa sa basketball. Ganyan din po ang eleksyon. Kaya po pagka medyo nahabol kayo, dalawang bagay lamang yan. Tanggapin ninyo yung pagkatalo o kayo ay magreklamo. Ang tanong, anong gagawin dun sa US election? Sana po ay matapos na yan. Pero dito po sa atin, sa Power Play, maganda ang panahon. Kaya po, magsama-sama tayo ngayong Sabado ng umaga. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat, mga kapatid. Lalong-lalo na sa ating mga nakikinig sa Radyo 5, 92.3 News FM. Noli Iyala po para sa Power and Play ngayong Sabado ng umaga, November 7. Naku, binabati natin lahat ng mga nag-birthday ng Nobyembre, lalong-lalo na yung kapatid ko si Shelly. Advance happy birthday, Shell. Alright, tayo po muli nagtatanghal ng Power and Play, hatid sa inyo ng Big Boss Cement, Big Boss sa Tatag, Big Boss sa Tibay, at ng Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Marami pa rin po tayong tututukan na mga balita ngayong araw pong ito at marami tayong ihahandog na mga panauhin. Mamaya makakausap natin muli ang isa sa pinaka inaabangan ngayon ng mga Pilipino, mga mahihilig sa mga batang manlalaro. 30 Ravenna na ngayon ay naglalaro po sa Japan, ang ating makakapanayam. Mamaya po, abangan nyo yan. Ha? Kasama po natin mamaya ang head coach ng Phoenix Fuel Masters na ngayon ay nasa ikalawang pwesto na, tied for second. Si Coach Topex Robinson. Ang dami niya pong nasabi kanina sa atin na magaganda ang kanyang mga tagubilin at ang kanyang mga istorya. And of course, yung pong coach ng ating pinagmamalaking si Yuka Saso at si Bianca Pagdangan, mga golfers sa Japan LPGA at sa US LPGA. Yan po si Bianca at si Yuka. Ang kanila pong coach, si 3-time World Junior Champion Carita Villaroman. Ipapasok na po natin mamaya ang kanyang interview din. Kaya marami po tayong makakausap. And of course, usapan ding NBA. Makakasama natin ang ating kaibigan at regular dito sa Power and Play. Walang iba kundi si Homer Sison. So, dyan lang po kayo at marami tayong pag-uusapan. Pero syempre, bago sa ating mga talakayan at ang ating mga panayam, ang ating ipapasok muna ay ang ating pulso ng bayan. Syempre, alam niyo naman ngayon, tuloy-tuloy po ang laro ng PBA. Pagkatapos na sila tumigil, last week, nag-resume sila noong Martes. At ang nangyari po, dahil medyo natigil tayo sa PBA, ngayon, parang 100-meter dash. Dahil punong-puno ang kanilang schedule. Minsan po, meron silang 4 na laro sa isang araw. At sa kasalukuyan, yung mga koponan na siguro kondisyon at siguro medyo nakaiwas na doon sa mga malalakas ang medyo nakakaangat dahil nga itong kanilang schedule ay punong-puno. Kagaya kahapon, ang dami pong laro at halata na apektado na rin ang ibang team dahil sa pagod. Kaya ngayon po makikita natin ang ating standings. Ang nangunguna na ang Barangay Ginebra Kings na merong kartadang 72. Pumapangalawa po dyan ang Phoenix at ang Talk and Text na nung una ay walang talo. 3 sunod na talo na yan sa TNT. They have lost 3 games at sila po ay ngayon tie for second. Nandiyan ang Meralco, number 4, Rain or Shine, Alaska, San Miguel at Magnolia ang top 8. Pero ang NLEX na nasa numero 9 ay naghahabol. Kaya po, punong-puno ang schedule. Very hectic. Ang ating pupulsuhan ngayong umaga pong ito, masyado na hong hectic ang bagong schedule ng PBA Philippine Cup. Mga kapatid, masyado ba hong puno? Pati kayo mga nanonood, medyo napapagod sa dami ng inyong abangan. Pamula alas 10 ng umaga yan hanggang alas 9 ng gabi, may naglalaro po sa PBA. Ang tanong nga natin muli, masyado bang hectic ang bagong schedule ng PBA Philippine Cup? Sige nga, pakinggan po ang inyong mga opinion. Mag-text lamang sa aming hotline 0949-691-4956. Ulitin ko po yan, 0949-691-4956. O di kaya mag-post sa aming Facebook page, Power and Play with Noli Iyala, o sa Radyo 5 92.3 News FM. Alright aabangan po natin. May mga nagpadala na ng kanilang mga opinion doon sa Twitter, at Noli Iyala, at sa Instagram po, at Noli Iyala. Simple lamang. Sundan nyo po sa ating mga social media accounts. Alright. Siyempre, sa pagsisimula po ng Sabado ng umaga, lagi po nating ipapasok ang ating paboritong segment dito. Ang ating fasting. Kung saan ang ating pakikinggan ang opinion mismo ng ating mga kapatid sa hanap buhay, ang mga sports journalist na sila naman ang talagang nasa likod ng mga kwento ng sports. At ngayon pong umaga, first time sa Power and Play na magkakaroon tayo ng love tandem. Yan! Ang mag-asawang sports journalist mula sa Philippine Star, si Joey Villar, at ang kanyang may bahay na mula naman sa Manila Bulletin, walang iba kundi si Cristel. Sa umaga, Villar. Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Villar. Magandang umaga. Nice to see you, Joey at saka Cristel.
Thank you po. Good morning po, Com.
Thank you, Com. Good morning.
Alam mo, bihira kami magkaroon ng ganitong pagkakataon. Kaya gusto kong tanungin ito. Mahirap ba yung mag-asawang pareho ang linya? Lalong-lalo na, pagkaiba pa yun ng media outfit, kayo ba kahit paano nagtataguan ng storya? Unahin kita, Cristel.
In a way din po, Com, medyo parang kunwari magsusulat ako pero hindi niya alam kung ano yung sinusulat ko. Pero usually on the early stages of our relationship, yan yung pinag-aawayan namin. Like, bakit sinulat mo yan? Hindi ko alam yan. Pero we've already dealt with that issue na. So okay na po ngayon.
Very good. Joey, ikaw ba kahit paano walang reyna ng tahanan pagdating sa pagsusulat. Hiwalay kung hiwalay ang bicolor sa puti. Joey?
Most of the time. Pero puro na lang. Kumbaga, sabi nga nila, a happy wife is a happy life. So, kailangan bawas-bawasan ng konti yung pang-i-scoop. Pero seriously, pagdating sa trabaho, wala talagang walang patawaran.
Oo, well, alam naman natin, kayong dalawa ang dalawa sa pinaka sinusundan at binabasa. Ako, personally, I read all the articles that you write. And dahil sa ang dami yung sinusundan ng mga storya, hindi lamang tungkol sa basketball, kundi sa ibang mga larangan ng sports. And that's why it's very interesting na nga makuha kwento ninyo. And marami tayong tinututukan ngayon. And just very quickly, Joey, ano ba ang storyang tinututukan nyo this weekend?
Alam mo naman natin, Com, na yung POC magulo, yung Pisgok, yung...
That's right.
And kay Cristo, si Alex Iyala.
Yes.
Sometimes I write also tennis. So, kumbaga kami kasi parang amateur sports kami. So, yung professional, may ibang writers na naka-assign. Kami, hindi lang basketball, tama ka, Kom. Lahat ng sports, hindi lang tennis, hindi lang politics ng sports, everything na mangyari, susulat namin. Maski nga obituary, sinusulat namin. Pag may namamatay na wag naman sana dahil malungkot na isulat, we also write about it. Kaya everything under the sun.
That is, yan ang kagandahan ng sports dahil talaga namang malawak ang pwede nating pag-usapan. At ngayong umagang ito, marami tayong pag-uusapan. Kasi kayo ay nasa fast take kung saan kayo ang isasalang namin. Ika nga dito sa fast take, bato-bato sa langit, tamaan, huwag magkagalit. And of course, walang tama o maling opinion dito sapagkat ito ay opinion nyo na mga taong nasa likod ng kwento ng sports. So, ready na ba kayo sa ating fast take, Joey and Cristel?
Ready na.
Yeah, ready.
All right, ito. Okay. Alam naman natin ang ating unang issue. Ito ang ating unang issue. Merong naging palitan, kumbaga, at merong kasaysayan, may history between Calvin Abueva at si Ray Parks Jr. Alam naman natin, isa sa mga rason kung bakit nasuspindi itong si Calvin Abueva ay dahil sa kanyang ginawa doon sa girlfriend o fiancé ni Ray Parks Jr. Ngayon, recently, nagsalita si Calvin, sabi niya sa isang sports shows dito sa ating stasyon kay paring Seb Sarmenta na okay na daw yata ang lahat at sabi nga daw sa kanya ni Ray Parks, pagbutihin mo na lang. Ngayon, tinanggi ito ni Ray Parks. So, ang una nating take ngayong umaga sa issue na umano'y misquote ni Calvin Abueva sa usapan nila ni Ray Parks, sino sa tingin niyo ang nagsasabi ng totoo? I will begin with you, Cristel. You have 1 minute. Go!
I think I would give it a benefit of the doubt dun sa encounter nila. Siguro nagkaroon lang ng miscommunication or misinterpretation with their encounter. Pero sana the both parties have already moved forward with the situation kasi since Calvin has already paid for his mistakes and has already apologized. So sana they're mature enough to move forward with it. Pero siguro kung hindi man nagustuhan ni Bobby Ray Parks yung sinabi ni Calvin, siguro mag-usap na lang sila doon sa show na katulad nito kung para masettle na lang yung issue. So, ayun. I'm not taking sides kasi mga, kumbaga sabi nga ni Joey, mga chismosa lang tayo dito.
Alright. Alam naman natin na ito ay mga balitang laging sinusundan ng mga netizen at of course ng mga fans ng PBA. Dahil nakaka-apekto to. But again, the same issue, Joey, no? Alam ko na ikaw ay kahit papaano, marami kang mga kaibigan na nandyan ngayon sa loob ng PBA bubble. Kaya ang tanong ko sa iyo muli, dyan sa issue ng umano'y misquote kay Calvin Abueva na sinasabi ni Ray Parks, sino sa tingin nyo? So, sino sa tingin mo ang nagsasabi ng totoo? Joey, 1 minute. Go!
Para sa akin, Kom, hindi natin alam kung sino dahil silang dalawa lang ang nakakaalam. Pwedeng tama si Calvin kasi hindi naman siguro gagawa yan ng masama again after na ma-reinstate siya. So, why would he lie? Diba? Pwedeng tama rin si Parks. May pinanggagalingan din siya kasi kahit sabihin mong matagal na yon, pag personal kasi ko minsan, di ba? Parang emotional ka so mahirap patawarin pag gano'n. So maaring isa sa kanila nagsasabi ng totoo, maaring miscommunication. Pero sana, ang wish ko lang na in time mapatawad na rin ni Bobby Ray si Calvin kasi nakikita natin si Calvin na sincere naman siya tingin ko dahil nakita na niya, natuto na siya na napakahirap ng walang trabaho. So sana si Bobby Ray, kung saan ka man, mapatawad mo rin siya, hindi man ngayon, in the future sana.
Well, ako, simple lang ang akin. Tama yan, Joey. Tama, Cristel. Sana nga ay mabigyan natin ng kapatawaran sa ating puso. Lahat ng tao na nagkamali. Pero minsan, ano lang yan, kumbaga maliit na gusot na pwedeng pag-usapan. Huwag na nating daanin sa media, daanin natin sa personal. Andiyan naman sila, magkasama sila. Bakit ba namang hindi pagbatiin yung dalawang yan? Alright, ito ang ating second fast take ngayong umaga ito. And Joey, you will begin first. Alam naman natin na malapit na ang FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers, no? At yan ay gagawin sa isa na namang bubble concept na tinatawag nila, at ang Pilipinas ay kasama ng ilang bansa dyan sa ating grupong yan. Pero mukhang nagkakaproblema dahil hanggang ngayon parang hindi pa alam unang-una kung sino magko-coach saan gagawin yung bubble na kung kailan sisimulan yan at ano pa ang mangyayari dyan sa FIBA Asia Cup qualifier. So ang tanong, dapat na ba tayo makalala tungkol sa paghahanda ng Gilas Pilipinas para sa 2021 FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers? 1 minute, Joey. Go!
Alam mo kung naghahanap ako ng salita na mas matindi sa malala sa alala pala, sa alala. So, kung ano man yun ang dapat na maramdaman natin kasi November na lang, late November 23 yata. So, wala pa tayong coach. Yung natitirang coach na wala sa Clark, si Compton nasa US na yata. So, sino hawak dito? Si Tab nasa Clark. Si Sandy nasa Clark. Sino pa? Si Topex nasa Clark. Hindi pwede yan. So, si Alex na inassign last month o 2 months ago na one of the assistants, narinig ko 2 months ago nasa US na . So, sino hawak? Number 2, yung players natin. Konti pa lang. Wala pa yung firm kung sino talaga. Hindi pa ina-announce. Wala talaga. Number 3, hindi mo rin masisisi yung Gilas dahil wala pa silang approval na mag-practice . Pwede silang mag-train individually, pero wala silang license to practice together, to scrimmage. So mahirap, aasa na lang tayo talaga sa individual conditioning para mag-compete.
Well said, well said. Talagang marami sa mga factors na sinabi mo, Joey, ay mga bagay na dapat nating tutukan ng pansin dahil talaga namang nauubos na ang panahon. So, same question, Cristel. Ako, kung pareho ang opinion mo, but ang tanong, dapat na ba tayong mag-alala tungkol sa paghahanda ng Gilas Pilipinas para sa 2021 FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers, considering na pati ang Korea ay nagkakaproblema? Cristel, you have 1 minute. Go!
I think kailangan talaga nating mag-alala dito sa qualifiers na natin preparation kasi yung mga atleta, naman yan they're ready when called for duty. Pero yung uncertainty, kung sila ba yung tatawagin or hindi, yun yung mahirap . Tsaka yung kumbaga parang pupunta tayo sa gera pero wala tayong kaalam-alam dun sa gagawin natin, wala rin tayong sino yung magiging leader natin doon. Yun yung pinakamahirap . So I think okay yung atleta, ready sila, condition sila, pero yung chemistry nila as a team, yun yung magiging problem natin. So I hope na yung IATF mabigyan na ng approval itong mga national athletes kasi national athletes to, kung ibang liga nabigyan na nila na approval, what more pa itong national athletes natin. So yun na lang talaga yung hope natin.
Well said. A very good point on the IATF dahil wala pa tayo nakikitang linaw tungkol dyan. Pati nga ang UAAP, bagamat nabigyan sila ng go signal, wala pa ring linaw kung sila ay papayagang makapaglaro dahil ang hirap ng sitwasyon dyan sa amateur sports. And of course, ang Gilas ay isang koponan at lahat tayo ay nag-aabang sa nilang magiging takbo itong susunod na ilang linggo. Alright, ang ating huli at ito, magandang topic ito. Ito ang third and final take natin na Cristel at Joey. Alam natin ngayong araw na ito, magsisimula ng magpakitang Gilas si 3D Ravenna para sa kanyang koponan, yung Neo Phoenix, Sun and Neo Phoenix, dyan sa Japan B-League. So ano ang nais ninyong makita mula kay 3D Ravenna ngayong maglalaro na siya sa Japan B-League? Cristel, ikaw mauuna. 1 minute, go!
Alam naman natin yung mga sumusubaybay sa UAAP knows na how vital 30 is dun sa championship ng Ateneo. So, gusto ko makita yung Philippine brand of basketball na ipinakita niya. So, I know na marami siyang natutunan kay Coach Tab Baldwin, yung mga experiences niya with his teammates. So, I just hope na ipakita niya na sa mga Japanese audiences and fans ng basketball na ito yung kind ng basketball na meron kami. And I'm sure it's also a good opportunity for him to grow as an athlete na iba rin kasi yung meron ka exposure sa ibang mga atleta, hindi lang sa mga Pilipino. And I wish him good luck and sana yun nga, mawaw niya yung mga athletes doon and then fans ng basketball.
Well, si 30 is a guy na alam naman natin is very entertaining. But again, ang tanong dyan is, akma na ba siya o naka-adjust na kaya siya dyan sa kanya? Tama ka, Crystal. I also am looking forward to the Filipino brand of basketball na sinasabi natin. Alright, Joey, same question para sa iyo. Ano ang nais mong makita mula kay 30 Ravenna dyan sa kanyang debut sa Japan B-League? Joey, 1 minute, go!
Tamang-tama, I was talking to Mosi Ravenna, her mother, a few days ago, and she told me na excited na si 30. So, knowing 30, lahat naman tayo, kilala natin si 30, maski hindi personally sa court eh. Pag naglaro yan, halimaw yan. Kumbaga, walang patawad yan. Depensa, opensa, ano pa ang gusto mo? May shooting, may katawan, may athleticism, may experience internationally. So, alam naman natin na the only way that can stop 30 is himself or injury. Wag naman sana. So, we expect him to do big things sa Japan that will make us all proud. At ipakita rin ni 30 sana na kung may Sakuragi sila, may Sakuragi rin tayo. Si Martin siya yung junior na sana makita nila to dahil I'm sure they will enjoy 30 na napakagaling, sobra. Kaya galing talaga. Excited na rin nga ako eh.
Alright, well, alam mo, kung meron pa mga anime, hindi ako nagsumusunod sa mga anime character, pero sana nga mabigyan siya ng pangalan. Lalong-lalo na, bago ang buhok niya, kulay pink eh. Yung kanya, yung bago niyang yung hairstyle. Yung pa lang eh, yung doon pa lang, may excite na ang mga Japanese basketball fans. Kaya abangan natin, mamayang hapon daw, 5:30 ng hapon, ang laro ni 30 Ravenna via YouTube yata at saka Facebook. Kaya I think we will have an opportunity to see him play finally. All right, Joey and Cristel, maraming salamat sa inyong panahon na binigay sa amin. I was totally entertained and I was very informed. Maraming salamat sa inyong opinion. Sana maulit at saka sa susunod, pwede na magkopyahan kung gusto ninyo.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yan po mga kaibigan natin, ang mag-asawang sports journalist, Joey Villar at sa Tumbaga Villar. Ang ganda, no? Pagka yung mag-asawa, isang linya, talagang magkakatulungan. Pwede rin magkataguan, pero that even makes you a better writer kung ikaw ay mga journalist. Right, mga kaibigan, tuloy-tuloy po tayo sa Power Play. Bago ko pa ipasok ang susunod nating o yung ating unang panayam, gusto ko lang pong kamustahin si Jessica Casimiro na ngayon ay nanonood na sa atin, si Brian Puno, shout out from Saudi Arabia, si Nel Laguya mula sa Bansalan, Alex Fuentes from Bacolod, magandang umaga partner, Nezi Ayo mula sa Sarangay Province. Ang dami na po nakatutok. Maraming salamat, lalong-lalo sa mga nakikinig sa atin sa 1PH at Signal TV and of course sa Facebook Live at sa Noli Iyala YouTube channel. At this point mga kaibigan, kanina pinag-uusapan natin nila Joey at ni Cristel tungkol kay 30 Ravenna. Well, tayo po ay maswerte. Mamayang hapon, lalaro na po si 30 Ravenna para sa kanyang koponan, yung Sun and Neo Phoenix. Kung saan makakalaban nila mamaya ang Shimane Susanoo Magic. Alam niyo po, ang kanyang koponan, kasalukuyan, nasa pinakailalim. Kulelat doon sa Western Conference ng Japan B-League. Ano kaya ang magiging takbo ng debut ni 30 Ravenna? Kahapon po, we caught up with 30 Ravenna on the eve of his debut sa Japan B-League. At ito po ang ating panayam sa ating superstar forward, 30 Ravenna. Alam natin na ang laki ng hype ng pagpasok niyan. Although ang papasukan mo koponan, yung San and Neo Phoenix, is, sa kasalukuyan may 1-9 record. Ang huli niyong panalo was October 28 laban sa Kyoto. So malaking bundok ang aakyatin niyo dahil medyo malayo-layo ang hahabulin niyo. But it's a long season. So ang una kong tanong sa iyo, 30, is nararamdaman mo ba yung pressure na bilang isang Asian import at papasok sa isang programa o sa isang koponan na right now ay nasa ilalim ng team standings?
Oh yes, Comnoli, definitely may pressure po yan kasi nga hindi ko lang nire-representa yung sarili ko dito sa Japan kundi tayo po mga Pilipino and lahat din po mga nanonood na Pilipino sa buong mundo, kumbaga nire-represent ko rin. So masaya naman po yung feeling. There's pressure pero at the same time, enjoy rin po kasi basketball pa rin naman po to at the end of the day. And we're here to make people happy, to be entertained, especially in these trying times. So definitely excited. Pressure will always be there. It's always been there from the day I started playing basketball. But this is why I chose the sport. I love to be challenged. And I love playing for the people as well.
Well, alam natin na ang Japan B-League ay isang merger between two leagues, no? Yung National Basketball League at yung BJ League nung araw na professional league din ng Japan. At nag-merge na nga sila dahil sa pandemya, nagkaroon ng compressed season, no? At alam natin yung koponan mo, 30, yung Neo Phoenix, ay 3 beses nagkampiyon bilang BJ champion. So, BJ League champion. No? So, obviously, it has a tradition of winning, no? But at this point, sabi nga natin, they're not playing very well. What are your early impressions of the team? Ano ang mga strengths, ano ang mga weaknesses ng team ninyo?
Well, definitely, Comnoli, sobrang unfair po pag i-judge ko sila na what they are as a team kagad kasi first off, the only game na nakalaro ng complete, not even complete roster, we're still missing one of our players, was the last game. So they had they had interim imports the first few games, and then nakalaro yung dalawang Serbian in the next couple of games, and then the last game nakalaro yung American import namin, and then this game makakalaro kami. Pero hindi pa rin may na-out sa amin because of injury, yung isang Serbian. Pero yun, as far as the game is concerned, the team, well, definitely needed help kasi kulang sa big.
Are you a big team? Do you think the team has enough height? Do you have size? Shooting, is there good shooting from the team or masyadong mga bata ba to mga players? Kasi para maintindihan ng ating mga Filipino fans kung ano yung composition ba ng team niya.
Opo. So yung sa team po namin, relatively medyo veterano po yung team namin in terms of age because we have siguro mga around 26, 27 to 36 yung age group usually. Dalawa lang ata kaming below 26 sa team, Comnoli. So definitely there's experience, and then shooting wise, okay naman po kami. Especially now that we have the si Serbian, si Jelovac.
Yes.
Sobrang the coldest shooter I've seen my whole life.
How big is this guy? Yung import niyo, yung Serbian import niyo, si Jelovac.
6'9", 6'10".
6'9", 6'10", but he's a shooter, hindi siya sentro.
Yeah, 4 po talaga siya, kumbaga prototype 4. Pero grabe ko, as in, pinakamatinding shooter na naging teammate ko buong buhay ko, tsaka na nakita ko sa personal na shooter.
He's averaging 28, 11, 2.5, and then about 1.3 steals. So this is a guy that can play, no? So talagang, kumbaga, hanga ka dito, ha?
national team din po siya ng Serbia eh. So, talagang, if you know how Serbians are, kung sobrang galing ng mga players doon. Pero, just to be with him, just to be able to practice with him and the experience that he's had, yung mga nasa-share niya sa akin about the game, laking bagay na po talaga. So, talagang hanga po ako sa kanya, pati sa mga ibang imports namin.
In so far as the league naman, 30, so far, yung mga nakita mo pa lang, no? Alam natin kasi, ikaw ay kahit paano, nandiyan ka na, nag-quarantine ka rin, so nakita mo rin kahit paano ang B-League, no? But in so far as the league is concerned, how is the quality of imports? Sabi ko nga, no, there are 3 foreign players allowed per team, isang naturalized at isang dual citizenship, plus an Asian import. So, kamusta ang quality ng laro?
Well, as far as the imports are concerned, yun nga, tatlo nga yung pwedeng imports. So, in terms of talent, definitely kaya nila well, almost like PBA imports na rin. Pero kasi sa PBA, one import lang. So, yung mga imports talaga na kinukuha natin is really high caliber. But sa kanila, it's pretty good. Mataas na rin yung caliber, especially the imports that we have. And yun din po siya. So medyo mahirap din po maglaro sa loob na court, lalo na pag dalawa po yung import.
May height limit ba ang mga imports?
Wala po.
So unlimited height yan. Miski anong kunin mo, kombinasyon. Pwedeng malaki, maliit, o dalawang malaki, pwede yan. Okay.
Yeah, kahit nga po tomorrow, 3 import po yung team na mga kalaban namin na pwede maglaro sa court kasi isa sa kanila naturalized. So, 3 po. Actually, 4 po yung import sa team nila.
Oo. No, but alam din natin na hindi pwede lahat ng import sabay-sabay maglaro. No? May limit lang, no? Na pwede pasok yung dalawang import na foreign, tapos kombinasyon ng dual, nung Asian import at saka nung naturalized. No? So, kamusta mga Japanese local players? Ito ba tanggap nila? Hindi naman sila, kumbaga, may konting alag sa fact na ang daming imports na naglalaro.
Ano po? Sorry, medyo choppy.
What I'm saying is, hindi ba pumapalag yung mga Japanese local players na puro imports na naglalaro at hindi nakalaro yung mga locals?
Ay, pumapalag po siya. Well, actually, the 2 imports inside the court na rule was made to protect the locals para makalaro din sila to make sure na the locals have a fighting chance. So, yung mga locals, kumbaga, sanay na sila sa imports na naglalaro sila, and actually, a lot of them, even in the other teams na napapanood ko, some of them actually isolate the imports and talagang they go one-on-one on the imports. So, talagang pumapalag naman po sila sa import. I mean, they'll at least try.
Kamusta ang makeup ng league? In other words, kayo ba, di ba home and away kayo? So, wala ba kayong mga protocols? You're not playing in a bubble, right?
No naman po. We're playing in a gym na, I think, 25 to 50% allowed na capacity po.
Okay.
Fans. And before kami umalis, we had to take a PCR test again.
Okay.
Sorry. In Aichi, dun sa club namin. And yeah, as far as the protocols are concerned, I think it's just that. And yun, parang hindi rin lang kami pinapayagan na umili or pero pwede naman po kumain sa labas.
Okay. So in other words, medyo maayos-ayos na ang condition diyan pagdating sa COVID-19 spread, no? Ika nga nakokontrol na ng Japanese authorities. Now, 30 what about
mas nag-rise up lang daw po yung numbers, but it's not as high. Naman daw po.
Hindi alarming, ika nga. All right. In terms of your living quarters, can you describe to us saan ka nakatira? Where are you based? And for instance, paano ang araw-araw na pamumuhay dyan sa Japan? 30 na ngayon na nandiyan ka na.
Well, sige po, how do I start? Well, yun nga po, let's start with my house. I think I have a pretty spacious apartment in Toyohashi, Aichi. And I think my regular routine would be wake up siguro mga 7 a.m., cook breakfast, um, take a shower, and be in the gym by around 9 a.m. Kasi nga po yung practice namin either 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. Pero the gym is open from 9 to 12. So either way, so sa pagdating ko po ng gym, pag kunyari 2 o'clock yung practice namin, 9 o'clock I train with my skills trainer there in the Philippines through FaceTime. And then till mga 10:30, then 10:30 to 12, my gym training ako with my trainer again na nasa Philippines. So
Sino to? Sino tong trainer mo na to? 30.
So yung skills trainer ko is Jolo Tamayo of True Focus.
Alright.
And my strength and conditioning is Mix Itona of Itona Performance. So yun, silang dalawa po talaga yung coaches ko off outside of the club.
Right.
And after that, siguro mga 12 o'clock matatapos na po kami. And then I'll have lunch near somewhere near the gym. Because ako 30 minutes away po ako sa gym, even without traffic. So medyo different city po kasi ako. So I'll have lunch and then balik ako sa gym, power nap ng konti, tapos shooting, then practice na po. Tapos afterwards, kain sa labas or grocery, and then laba, tapos
would you say na adjusted ka na sa pamumuhay dyan mag-isa? Wala ka bang hindi mo ba namimiss ang Maynila?
Well, definitely po nakakamiss, lalo na yung pagod na pagod ka tapos pag-uwi mo ng bahay may pagkain na nakahanda. So, yun din po yung mga nakakamiss. Pero I can't complain. I mean, everyone's going to the same thing naman po. And, you know, a lot of people, I think I'm still having it good.
What about the IQ, basketball IQ ng mga Hapon? How do you compare it with us in terms, even I guess even the organization itself? Alam naman natin dito ang mga coaches very thorough. Ang dami nating ginagawa, ang daming paghahanda, ang daming klase ng training. How would you compare the professional coaches in Japan? I know your coach is a Serbian, pero in terms of the basketball IQ of the team, no, itself, how does it compare to us?
Well, I'd say naman, to be honest, we're a little bit more skilled than the Japanese players generally, but you know there are exceptions. But in terms of working, I think mas intense lang yung training dito. Kasi kumbaga kahit sa pros, I've been with teams, I've practiced with teams, and the practices don't go as hard as the practices here. I guess maybe it's because of I'm not sure if it's because of the Serbian coach, but it's also like that during the preseason nung wala pa yung head coach. Actually, twice a day pa sila nag-training nun, and in the pros, you don't see that a lot. Right, but as far as basketball IQ is concerned, I haven't played enough to decide.
Really know.
Yeah, I've had one 7-minute scrimmage with the whole team, and in the games, I think reasonable naman yung okay naman yung IQ nila.
Okay.
And you know, mas lang po, mas aggressive nga lang po yung game. Kasi kumbaga sobrang bilis. Kasi nag-scrimmage po kami, kapong-kapula po ako ng mga lalo na 2 minutes, last 1 minute. Kasi yun nga po, wala pa ako sa condition until now. Kasi yun nga po, hindi ako naka-cardio workout because home workout lang po naman lahat. So, still getting my air, but the game is really fast. As in, Grabe, yung mga point guard na, lalo na yung mga maliliit na point guard.
Ang bibilis talaga. O, alam naman natin yan. Pag nakikita,
Pero
pag nakikita
grabe.
natin. Oo. Now, okay. You talk about your teammates, talk about your coach, of course. Sabi mo nga, they're all, welcoming. What about the language? Meron ba bang language barrier kayo? Yung coach mo is a Serbian. Ang mga teammates mo is also Serbian. And then you have Japanese teammates. Meron bang konting, minsan hindi kayo nagkakaintindihan?
Well, I mean, yes, definitely the language barriers there, not with the Serbians, but with the Japanese players. Because even in Japan, not a lot of people can speak or even understand. I mean, they understand a little bit of English, pero may translator pa rin po kami sa team.
Okay.
Sorry. Tuwing nagsasalita yung Serbian coach, someone's translating it in Japanese. So, there's still, pero masaya naman po kasi you learn a lot of things every day. Parang may cultural week, cultural day every day. Lahat may
marunong ka na rin magnipongo ng konti.
Konting-konti, nagpapaturo pa rin po dun sa mga players. Serbian na rin. So, kumbaga, lahat, para iba-iba po yung mga lingwahe na natutunan ko dito. So,
at pagbalik mo ng Maynila, pwede ka na rin maging tutor ng Nipongo at saka ng Serbian. Ganito, all right, you're about to play your first game and obviously, marami nag-aabang. Sabi mo nga, you have not had too much playing time in terms of practices with your team. Anong expectation mo sa una mong laro and are you excited about this first opportunity to show your talent, 30?
Yes, definitely, Cobb. It's been 8 months since I've played my last 5-on-5 game, so definitely excited. But as far as expectations is concerned, hindi ko po talaga not even expecting. People aren't expecting as much, yung kumbaga yung big return or big game right after coming back, because it's not easy. Definitely, number one, I'm still not in shape, not in the shape that I want. And also, we're in a team that it's different. It's not parang Ateneo na it's easy to, it's not naman easy, pero it's much easier there to if I want to perform. But here we have 3 imports in the team. One of them is averaging 28, 11, and 2 a game, and one of them is averaging 16 and 10. So, I mean, it's hard when you to even think about making a lot of being able to take a lot of shots and being able to have a lot of time with the ball. So definitely, hopefully, wala masyado expectations as far as my mentality is concerned. Kumbaga, it's really, tawag ko dito yung masahe muna. Yung easing in muna, getting to know them, trying to get a couple of runs, a couple of touches in the ball in the first game. Just trying to get familiar. Kasi mahirap po yung pagpasok mo, if you go in there with guns blazing, it's hard na, alam mo, you could cost the game. So just want to make sure na, number one, you do the right things and you do what coach asks you to do, and you have the team out. So I think that's my main goal first. And yun nga po, kumbaga, gradual muna yung I'd rather start
parang bini-break in ka muna. Ika nga para sa kotse.
Kumbaga, parang bago sa
muna.
Bagong kotse.
Okay. Well, my last question, 30, to you, at alam ko, kailangan mo na rin magpahinga, is this. Your game will be televised in the Philippines. There is so much anticipation. Maraming nagabang, maraming gusto makita ka in action. Unang-una, what is your reaction? Pangalawa, what is your message to all of your fans, 30?
Yan, unang-una, nagpapasalamat po ako sa B-League and whoever's responsible for televising the first 10 games to the Philippines, kasi nga po, yun nga, Kong Noli, marami po talaga nagtatanong kung saan po sila makakapanood. And before, hirap to give an answer kasi wala po talaga. I've asked the team since July if it was possible to live stream the game. So I've been asking them ever since, and they know that. So just to, for it to happen and be possible for everyone to watch, not just in the Philippines, but around lahat ng mga Pilipino sa buong mundo. Definitely, nakakataba po ng puso kasi knowing that may mga taong sumusuporta sa'yo kahit wala ka sa bansa, playing for a different team in Japan, nandyan pa rin sila para sa'yo. So definitely, I'll do my best para sa lahat ng mga, to represent the Philippines and not just myself, and hopefully to get more wins for the club.
Well, we wish you all the luck, 30. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kong Nolly. Maraming salamat.
Salamat. Yan po mga kaibigan, ating pinagmamalaking si 30 Ravenna na ngayon ay magde-debut na sa Japan B-League. Mamayang hapon po yan, ha? Yung mga nagtatanong sa akin, 5:30 ng hapon po dito, Manila time, ang laro ni 30 Ravenna. Ang balita po natin, ilalabas yan sa YouTube, no? At saka doon sa Facebook page. So, hanapin nyo po yan, ha? Basta yung laban ng Neo Phoenix, mamaya pong hapon, 5:30, mamayang hapon po. Good luck kay 30 Ravenna, and we certainly wish him na all the best. Sana ay talagang mapakita niya ang galing at igang excitement ng Philippine style ng basketball. All right, mga kaibigan, ha? Happy birthday kay Tito Rod Mohe. Happy birthday, Tito. Paano man kami? Puro kayo lang ang may kainan. All right, at this point, mga kaibigan, ha? Alam nyo po, ang isang mainit din na lumabas ka recently ay ang desisyon ng NBA na magsimula na muli. Kita nyo, wala pang ang 2 buwan magsimula na uli. Wala pang 1 buwan ba? Meron parang, diba? Sandali pa lang magbabalik ng NBA. At ngayon pong amagang ito, makakasama natin ang ating kaibigan, ang ating NBA insider, ang Spin.ph correspondent, Homer Sison, live from Chicago para po pag-usapan ang developments sa NBA. Magandang araw, Homer. Last time I saw you, hindi pa nagkakampyon ang Los Angeles Lakers at meron pa kayong pangulong tinatawag na Donald Trump. Kaya it's good to see you finally. Medyo wala yatang audio si Homer. Can we get your audio, Homer? Ayusin natin yung niyan muna. Ayusin muna natin ang kanyang audio sa ating producer Gab. In the meantime, again, sabi po natin ang NBA ay nagdesisyon na po ang NBA at saka yung NBA Players Association. Alam niyo po ang desisyon sa NBA, hindi lamang po ang liderato ng NBA ang nagdi-decide niyan. Kasama po dyan yung tinatawag nilang NBA Players Association na napakalakas pagdating sa mga desisyon ganyan. Alam niyo kung bakit? Pinapangalagaan nila ang kapakanan ng mga NBA players. At tinitingnan nila kung ito ay unang-una papasok doon sa kanilang collective bargaining agreement. Pangalawa, kung ito ay pabor at kung ito ay sang-ayon sa kagustuhan ng mga players na hindi naman makakasakit sa liga. Hindi naman ang ibig sabihin pag may asosasyon o may union, masama. Ang ibig po sabihin niyan, organisado ang pag-iisip para po kayo uunlad ng NBA. Yan po ang rason kung bakit nagkaroon sila ng NBA bubble na again, pinag-usapan po yan ng NBA Players Association at ng NBA. At ngayon po magsisimula na muli sila. Ito na naman, nagdesisyon na naman ng sama-sama ang Players Association. And that is obviously one of the reasons why napaka-unlad ng NBA. At tingnan natin, makukuha natin ulit si Homer. Homer? Medyo pa rin We're trying to see if we can reconnect the line with our NBA insider, si Homer Sison. Again, December 22 po ang napipintong muling pagpapasimula ng NBA. Ang maraming rason dyan at ating mamayang malalaman kay Homer lahat ng yan. In the meantime, gusto po nating batiin ang ating mga kaibigan sa Mabolo, Cebu City. Shout out to Singles for Christ, Central 1 sa Mabolo. Edsel Del Mar, Si Resita Baril, magandang umaga po. Good morning din kay Ana at saka kay Enteng. Mamaya kita. And then of course, isa pong condolence lamang sa pamilya ni Auntie Conching Malyari na siya po'y pumanaw noong isang araw. Condolence po mula sa aming lahat dito sa Power and Play. At this point, mga kaibigan, pasok muna natin bago natin ibalik si Homer Sison. Pasok muna natin ang ating mga tagapagtaguyod ng Power and Play. Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng nakikinig sa atin. Ang daming nakinig sa atin, lalo sa pagsisimula natin. Maraming po salamat sa Big Boss Cement, Big Boss sa Tatag, Big Boss sa Tibay. Nandito na ang Big Boss Cement, di basta matitibag, approved sa kalikasan at sobrang abot kaya. Big Boss Cement is the first eco-friendly cement company in the Philippines. First and only current, or rather cement that is produced with low to 0% of high carbon footprint raw materials. Maraming po salamat kay Engineer Gilbert Cruz, ang kanilang President and Chief Company Innovator, and of course, ang buong staff ng Big Boss Cement, Big Boss sa Tatag, Big Boss sa Tibay. Marami din po salamat sa Cherry Loom. Sa ganitong pabago-bago na panahon, mga kabayan, sobrang init tapos biglang uulan. Kailangan natin ng matibay at protektadong bubong. Dapat ang bubong ay yerong may aluminum para tiyak na pangmatagalan. Alam ba, pagka ang yero nyo ay may halong aluminum, ito ay tumatagal. At isa lang ang alam kong dekalidad na yerong may aluminum, yan ang Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero. Cherry Loom, ang yero may aluminum. Marami pong salamat kay paring Elmer Ngo ng Cherry Loom. Marami din po salamat sa Elms Winery and Kapihan ng Elms Resto Bar Group. Subukan niyo po ang kanilang almusal, snack, tanghalian, hapunan, kahit pulutan. Elms kare-kare in beef o bagnet, yung kanilang pong sizzling sinigang na corned beef. Elms Old Style Burger, and of course yung iba't iba nilang mga pasta. Meron din silang mga party platters. Basta pagdating sa kainan at halo-salo, Elms Winery and Kapihan ng Elms Resto Bar Group. Yan po. Meron din silang free delivery sa mga numero niyan. At sa kanilang mga branches sa Cali Bistro, Ever Commonwealth, Robinsons Novaliches, Poblacion Makati at sa Brixton Street sa Pasig. Elms Resto Bar Group. Papasalamat din po kami sa Joyride, ang bago niyong kasundo. Ang Joyride po ay tuloy-tuloy ang paranda sa muling pagbabalik ng motorcycle taxi. Kung kailangan naman niyo po ng mabilis, mura at mapagkakatiwalaan na delivery, well, dito na kayo sa subok na Joyride. Download the latest Joyride app now. And of course, malapit na po kaming mamigay sa Joyride ng aming passenger helmet. Tingnan nyo lang po ang inyong Joyride Philippines Facebook page at makikita nyo ang detalye po sa muling pagbabalik ng motorcycle taxi. Libre po, free of charge, yung aming Joyride passenger helmet. Maraming salamat sa Joyride Philippines. Of course, maraming po salamat sa Maquillage Professional, your School of Makeup Artistry. Ang Maquillage Professional ang aming official makeup sa Power and Play. Thanks also to Skin, your face and body anti-aging center with branches at Alabang Town Center at sa Wilson Street sa San Juan, Metro Manila. Kung kailangan nyo po ng mga skin care products and of course mga treatment, tumawag lamang sa 0917-890-1640. Thank you so much kay Dr. G. Sarmiento and of course, Dr. Richie Sarmiento. Alright, tuloy-tuloy po tayo sa Power and Play. Ngayon, susubukan natin muli makuha ang ating kaibigan, ang ating NBA insider, Homer Sison. Tingnan natin,
Commissioner, can you hear me?
Yan! Sabi ko na Yay! Siguro nanalo na si Hinebra.
inaantay ko na Commissioner na i-announce na ng CNN the new. Alam mo sa boxing, they always say kung manalo yung kampiyon, they would say still. Tapos kung manalo yung challenger,
bagong challenger,
the new. So inaantay ko. Vice President Joe Biden is supposed to appear here in the United States primetime
Oo.
to address the nation. Pero because wala pang call for Pennsylvania, I think that speech may be moved a little
Oo.
while. Medyo
Oo.
mag-aantay
Pero
pa ng konti.
kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina, alam mo yung election parang sports lang yan eh. Minsan talagang ganun eh. Yun ang nirereklamo ni President Trump na lamang daw siya bilang hinabol. Ganun talaga. Ganun din sa basketball. Kahit minsan lamang ka na ng 20, 24, alam ng
Yeah.
Clippers yan. Alam na hinabol. Ganyan talaga. And sabi ko, huli tayo nag-usap, hindi pa champion ng LA, ngayon champion na. And then we're talking now about an NBA restart. And that's the whole topic of this conversation, Homer. Napabalita na itong mga losses ng NBA. Last season, they had a huge amount of money that hindi pumasok sa kanila. Bakit ba nagmamadali? Una-una, ano ang opisyal na komunikasyon, Homer? What is the official announcement tungkol sa NBA restart?
The official announcement is December 22. But like any union, the NBA Players Association already approved it. Yung board of, yung mga representation nila, officers. But they still have to bring it to the rank and file. And my sense is that sino ba naman hindi papayag? Because, the incentive here is for the Players Commissioner is that, kung walang season, walang salary. Because the NBA can always come back to that place where they declared force majeure, meaning to say, like an act of God or something happening that they can basically write off the collective bargaining agreement. So the players, parang formality lang ito, Commissioner. It will be taken up. The season will start December 22.
Okay, ang tanong ko din, Forrest, bakit nagmamadali ang NBA, Homer?
Because according to Adrian Wojnarowski, report ESPN, the foremost authority in the NBA reporting, sabi kasi niya, the NBA has been bleeding cherry red. $4 billion.
Wow!
Yeah, that was the report of Adrian.
$4 billion ang nawawala sa kanila o natalo?
Ang lost revenue. That would include the uncertainty. Kung walang season ngayon and walang fans, wala lahat, it would approach $4 billion, including the China tweet, sales of merchandise for the 30 teams.
Right.
If they do not start on December 22, Commissioner, there would be additional $500 million to $1 billion in losses. So,
what is the alternative ba? What is the alternative other than December 22? Ano bang gusto ng mga ibang sektor?
Well, there is for the NBA, there is no alternative kasi it's lost income, lost revenue. Bayad na yon, Commissioner. When the ABC, ESPN, TNT, all those broadcast networks, when they paid that long-term deal, the expectation was, of course, there is a product. When you buy broadcast rights for that product, you expect a product. Yun naman mga TV stations, they also have a commitment to their sponsors. Like for instance, if you're Kia, the official vehicle of the NBA, kung walang NBA, how are you going to promote your product at the level where sa NBA na broadcast in 136 countries around the world? So so that's why there is no, para sa akin, this is not like the NBA is trying to help the world. The world is so as a lonelier place because there's a pandemic. No, this is, sinabi nga nila, necessity is the mother of invention. The NBA is doing the season because it needs it. Especially yung mga small markets, Commissioner, na walang income. Which is nga, the downside here is this. LeBron James spent 16 years of his life, of his NBA career, to win 3 titles. It would only take him 9 months to win the next 2. So ang ibig sabihin, napaka-cramped. That's 72 games. They will still have the time frame. That's why they also want to start December 22, Commissioner, because they want to end before the Olympics. Because
that's right.
Yeah, once the Olympics starts in July, then the ratings are gonna be crushed by the Olympics, obviously.
So you're talking about, for instance, itong kay LeBron, alam natin, he has spoken na baka nga 1 month daw siya na hindi muna magsimula. What is the prevailing sentiment among the players? Alam natin that the economy or the economics of this particular incident is the primordial interest right now. But meron ka bang nakikita mga player na maaaring hindi maglaro or at least petik-petik, ika nga natin mga Pinoy, in the beginning of the season?
Yes, we've seen this even in the original restart in Orlando, Commissioner. Like sports, they say, is a microcosm of life in society. Same thing in the NBA. The rich have the luxury of saying, tingnan, for instance, Trevor Ariza, di ba? Trevor Ariza he chose not to play with Portland. But Trevor Ariza already made $100 million in the course of his career. He can afford to sit down one season and, forego the 16 or whatever $1 million was left in this contract for that year. Now, because not all NBA players are rich, so yung iba, how about those who are still playing rookie contracts like Dort with the Oklahoma City Thunder? He makes only less than 1.6 million a year. He would like to have that money. If you're LeBron, you already made in excess of $250 million in salaries in the NBA, you can afford to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to sit out a little bit. Because the NBA, my sense is that they're going to do the same thing, Commissioner, like they did in Orlando, where the case with Oladipo, remember, when Oladipo wasn't sure whether he was going to play or not. And then the NBA stepped in and said, hey, no play, no salary.
But again, alam natin yan, that is the reality of merong mga maliliit na sweldo na kailangan ng kumita. But on the other side of the spectrum, alam natin yung mga team owners din, Homer. From what I've read, there is a projected 9 billion revenue for the NBA. 50% of that is, of course, on TV, 10% is on merchandising, and 40% is on ticket sales. Ngayon, napapasok ang NBA na meron pa rin pandemya and the cases in the US are rising. How does that affect the owners on the other side? Na mawawala itong fans? Or is the NBA thinking of allowing fans in the new season?
No, they will follow the science. And as long as there's no vaccine, they would be limited. Ang sabi nga, the last time I heard was that i-allow lang nila ang suites, Commissioner.
Yung mga private.
Yes, private suites. And because you can easily monitor or like temperature takes and all that. Kumbaga sa you rein in. It's easier than allowing like 5,000 people once they're inside the arena. How do you control them when they do not socially distance, when they do not wear a socially responsible mask? But if you're in a confined environment like a suite, when you allow only 20 people, then you can monitor because you can see them in the suite. So yun lang. And plus also the suites are very expensive. To give you an example, when Manny Pacquiao was in Los Angeles before the Mayweather fight, he was thinking of buying a suite to watch the game for his family members, his children, and all that stuff. And isang suite at a Clippers game is north of $25,000. It only allows about 30 people, but you get free beer, free hot dogs, and all that stuff. So mahal yun. So the NBA is targeting. Can you imagine if you can sell 10 suites in one game? That's $250,000. That's more than what you make in the regular, in the tickets in courtside where you have like 100 people paying $1,000 each.
Plus, of course, in the new NBA season, there will be protocols that will be followed. But hindi naman sila kagaya ng ibang regular na mga liga na lahat ito mga to naka-chartered plane. So wala silang problema sa home and away. I guess that's the expectation, Homer?
Yes, that is because and speaking of the losses in the NBA, we've already seen it. Kasi ang Utah Jazz when the Miller family who have owned the Utah Jazz for the last 35 years, Commissioner, they've owned the franchise and they sold it. And the reason was the pandemic. I mean, the losses were just impossible to, it was just so hard to keep your employees at the same time. Kasi yung Utah, they also own their own arena. They own so many other teams like the WNBA team, the G League team. And so it's an effect because then there's no income. And another owner that's really being hit hard is Mickey Arison of the Miami Heat. Because Mickey Arison's main business is the cruise ship.
Cruise liners. Tama.
And he is being killed. The Miami Herald has done so many stories about, he even, there was even a story in the Miami Herald that he was contemplating on selling the Miami Heat to cover some of the losses. So it is a misnomer, and not really a misnomer, but like guys like Mark Cuban, who's he's buying the Dallas Mavericks because he has that's just it's like toy. But with other owners that this is your business, like Jeannie Buss, the Lakers, they that is their bread and butter. So
all of the schedules because of all of these things have been moved up. ang training camp, ang free agency, ang moratorium on trades, lahat yan nagalaw na ngayon, Homer. And when you look at this now, who do you think are the players that are most likely to move? May pinag-uusapan ngayon, we're looking at Jrue Holiday, pinag-uusapan yan, Aaron Gordon, even Devin Booker, even James Harden, na baka pumunta sa Philadelphia 76ers. Sabi ko, ayoko si James Harden. Ba?
Yeah.
Seriously, ano sa tingin mo ang galawan ngayon? Is there a possibility that really players will start moving around quickly?
Not necessarily, but it would affect. Like for instance, if you're Jordan Clarkson, you are a free agent and you have a new ownership. And Ryan Smith, who bought the franchise from the Millers, will pay $1.8 billion to acquire the Utah Jazz. And if you're putting that kind of money, how sure are you you have to invest another, say, $60 million for Jordan Clarkson? And same thing with the Milwaukee Bucks. There is no income coming. The Milwaukee Bucks are bleeding just like any other small market team in the NBA. Then you have to pay Giannis Antetokounmpo $279 million next season.
So apektado players talaga in terms of the salaries.
Yeah, of course,
Homer?
because the meat, the fulcrum of the NBA salary is called basketball revenue income. That is where the owners get the money to pay the salaries of their players. And with no BRI, basketball-related income, wala. So it's hard.
Ano yung tinatawag nilang player escrow? Very quickly, ano yung ibig sabihin nun, Homer?
Well, they will just hold money that is due to the players until things normalize. Yun lang, para bang lane.
Hindi mo na nila ibibigay yung pera. Hindi mo na nila ibibigay.
Yeah, okay. That money is, but it's there. It's gonna be there, but it's not gonna be given until things normalize. And
is that still one of those outstanding issues ng Players Association?
Yes, of course, because if you're an insurance guy, you always say, "I want my money now." But when, like I said, if you're on the side of the NBA owners, mahirap because there's no money coming in, and just like any business, if you're a school administrator, how are you gonna keep the lights on if there's no tuition?
So, given all of these things, do you think that the NBA restart ultimately will benefit the league and will become successful?
Yes and no. If you're a player like LeBron James, you're 37 or 35 years old, you're going to have only 71 days to rest. You have 50,000 miles or minutes on your knees. So if you're LeBron, you'd rather have that long rest. And nakita mo naman sa NBA bubble, even sa PBA bubble, there are more injuries, Commissioner. So that was also a factor. And the PBA is not as rigorous as the NBA, where they have a 72-game schedule. So that's another thing. But like I said, this reminds me of the Lewis-Tyson fight when Lewis was for Showtime, Tyson was with HBO. They said this would not happen because there are two conflicting interests, but the money is too big for everybody to not
to walk away.
To walk away. So I think this will eventually happen. It would hurt both sides. I mean, the NBA, the team owners will be hurt, and so will the players.
Final question for you, Homer. Do you think the NBA players, because of now that they are going to be restarting immediately, hindi pa nga nakakapahinga, although about 8 teams have not played since March, so marami pa rin yung mga players naman na naghahanap na ng laro. But do you think that the NBA players will make themselves available for the Olympics?
That's another thing, Commissioner. You mentioned this. That's not a decision solely on the NBA players. That's a decision of the team. Kasi the team owners can always say, "Hey, you can't play." Just like what happened to Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Greek Basketball Federation was so upset, but nearing the 2016 Rio Olympics, the Milwaukee Bucks suddenly announced that Antetokounmpo had an injured right knee. So it's the decision is not solely on the NBA players. But if I'm an NBA owner, given the uncertainty of a season, why would you allow? Sabi nga, Mark Cuban said it best. Why if I'm the team owner, why would I allow my player when I don't make money? If Dirk Nowitzki plays for Germany, Mark Cuban doesn't make any money, but he also risks insurance. Kasi that's a problem, Commissioner, because the NBA insurance, which is covered by MetLife, if you are, let's say, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he plays for the Greek team. If he gets injured in the Olympics, the NBA insurance that is covered, it does not include FIBA games. So there is really no incentive, and the FIBA does not have any revenue sharing with the NBA. That's why the NBA is so recalcitrant in giving its players access to play in the Olympics.
Well, a lot of uncertainty that will be happening in the next few months. The only thing uncertain is the NBA will restart on December 22.
And the only thing certain, Commissioner, and this is not just written in stone, this is etched in big boss cement. Power play #1 in ratings. And Commissioner,
Dahil sa'yo. Ayan.
no, Commissioner. Dahil sa Rocco Gym, no, ramen cook.
So susunod, meron tayong Rocco Gin predictions. Ayan.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, Commissioner, and thank you very much for having me. Good morning.
Thank you so much, Homer. Maraming salamat sa iyong mga insights. Mga kaibigan, Homer Sison, ang ating NBA Insider. Always fun to chat with Homer live from Chicago. Alright, mga kaibigan, tuloy-tuloy po tayo. We'll take a quick break. At magbabalik pa po tayo. Makakasama natin sa ating pagbabalik si Topex Robinson, head coach ng Phoenix Fuel Masters. Ito po ang Power and Play. Hatid sa inyo ng Big Boss Cement at ng Cherry Loom. Alright, mga kaibigan, kinakamusta po natin ang ating kaibigan si Monsur Del Rosario na nag-text sa atin. Good morning, partner. And of course, ang lahat po ng mga nakikinig sa atin at mga nanonood, Bernard Lasso, si Francisco Tubal, kabayan mula sa Santo Tomas, Batangas, si Nature Demos mula sa, meron siya pa-shoutout po, Lodi. Steve Umaga, morning, at si Alexi Relie, all the way from Baleno, Masbate. Of course, si Ian Mohe, all the way from Canada. Diyan sa Calgary. Magandang araw po sa inyo dyan, all the way in Canada. All right, at this point, mga kaibigan, again, we caught up with the head coach of Phoenix Fuel Masters. Ngayon ay ang Phoenix po ay nasa ikalawang pwesto ng Philippine Cup. At ano ba ang tumatakbo sa kanilang isipan? Ano nangyayari diyan sa Phoenix at ang ganda ng kanilang ipinapakita finally sa pagbabalik ni Calvin Abueva. Nakausap po natin walang iba kundi ang head coach ng Phoenix, si Coach Topex Robinson. You played with Red Bull as when you were a rookie sa PBA, and now you're the head coach. Isn't it such a, just a eerie feeling sa'yo na talagang parang fate destined you to be part?
You know what's so special about this com is some of the staff na kasama ko from way back from Red Bull, our officer, sa Rudy Ocampo, even the utilities there, kasama ko pa nung nasa Red Bull ako. So talagang mayroon kaming common denominator. So when we talk about things, we always look back to those memorable times na meron kami. So may connection kaagad from that end pa lang. And obviously, Sir Paolo Bugia was also part of it. So talagang may connection nga, Sir Com. Kaya medyo masaya talaga na nandito ako ngayon sa Phoenix.
Nakakatuwa talaga. I mean, and, when I was researching, sabi ko, pambihira talaga ang panahon. And again, part of the research that I made and nakita ko is, of course, your coaching career na dahan-dahan. Hindi naman ikaw meteoric ang rise. And you took the slow grind, the road less traveled, ika nga, and you nagtyaga ka. Is this somehow an apex to your coaching career na ngayon full head coach ka ng PBA?
Sobrang ironic kasi po the time that I entered the PBA, which is 2003 under your reign pa nun, Com, I remember. And alam ko po na magko-coach ako someday. Hindi ko po alam kung bakit.
Wow.
Maybe that's why yung hindi ko makakalimutan yung mga sinusulat ni Coach Yeng sa board namin noon, every game. I wrote it down and I don't know why. To consider that was my first year in the PBA. So, but I was already thinking ahead. And sabi ko, I'm preparing myself already. It was back in 2003 pa, Com, when I first decided I wanted to be a head coach. And yun nga po. So, ganun katagal.
Nakakatuwa because, talaga, well, Coach Yeng, ang una mong naging head coach sa PBA, you came in as a drafted pero free agent
Yes, sir.
sa Red Bull after you were drafted in 2001 ng Tanduay. And then after your career in the PBA, of course, two-time champion, napunta ka sa Pure Foods, and you ended up in Alaska where you were also coached by Tim Cone. And now when I look at the Phoenix team, Coach Topex, there's a little bit of Yeng there, yung free-flowing offense ni Coach Yeng. There's a little bit of the triangle. Nakita ko yan nung isang gabi. I saw that particular play. How big of an influence has these two guys been to you as a coach, Coach Topex?
Com, sobrang swerte po talaga, Com, because both are winners in their own rights. And ang maganda po dito, Com, they are two different, separate sila ng spectrum eh. One is Coach Tim, sobrang organized and everything. While itong si Coach Yeng, sobrang unpredictable. So it's just a matter of, Com, I cannot be one of those. One of the challenges I had when I started coaching, sabi ko, dapat coaching ako. So galit ako palagi. Hindi ko kaya, Com, eh. Nauubos ako. Hindi ako pwede maging team ko na sobrang systematic kasi hindi ko rin personality. But what I found out is I'm just gonna pick a few bits and pieces and be myself. Kumbaga yung experiences ko from both, even Coach Leo Austria was coaching me when I was in the PBL. So doon ko na realize, Com, na yung mga times pala that I was with them, eto na pala yun. Ito na yung bunga po noon na nangyari sa akin. And Com, hindi rin naman po ako star player just like what you said. So I ride most of the time sa bench. And I was so proud of it. It was something that I was so proud of. And my journey, Com, from being given a 3-month contract nung time na wala si Jimwell, and then I was blessed with 9 years in the PBA. Yes, I won championship, Com, but I wasn't really one of those guys na nasa main I was just on the background. Kaya nga po, mas marami akong time sa bench. Siguro that's how I prepared myself to be a coach.
And that's why nakakatuwa na ngayon you're leading your own team and bringing your own character, your own wisdom, and of course your own style. And talking about style, very quickly lang, are you better off na wala yung necktie just a bubble?
Well, nung una po ko, because I was with Alaska for about 7 years. 6 to 7 years of my early coaching career. So nasanay ako na may collection ako ng suit, ng long sleeve, may collection ng tie, but now I have to let it go. And well, I still miss it though, because also one part of the system that I ran was on as far as organizational is concerned is again I've learned it from Boss Fred. Again, he's really a man of integrity and always doing it right, and that's one thing that I also partake sa team, and yun po yung yun, ang dami po sobrang natutunan when I was part of those successful organizations.
All right. Well, you have a successful run so far. 2 straight wins, a big win laban sa San Miguel mismo, and of course the return of Calvin Abueva. All of a sudden, your team is coming along. Matthew Wright, ang ganda ng nilaro ni RJ Azul. Justin Chua has also come out firing, and it looks like it's picking up. What is your assessment so far, Coach Topics, ng yung sariling koponan?
Well, I have to repeat all the time that we came here, ang ano namin is to be the best versions of ourselves. Kumbaga, yun lang, wala kaming inaasam na mag-champion, or we wanna make sure that we're clear of who we are and what we represent. Siguro yun po yung isang bagay that we have really been talagang holding on to, even though now that things are going our way. So we always make sure that we hold fast and stay true to kung ano yung pinunta namin dito. Yun yung unang ano po namin, Com. And up to now, just like last night after the win against San Miguel, we just kept on reminding ourselves of why we're here, and that's to really to inspire others, and especially at this time of the year, or yung nangyayari po sa atin ngayon sa mundo, Com, masyadong maraming challenges, and sabi nga namin, we're gonna use our platform para makapagbigay ng saya. And yun po yung palagi namin pinangahawakan.
And talking about saya, well, 150,000, 170,000 watch your game. That's the pagbabalik ni Calvin Abueva, and really the numbers are going high. Obviously, a big factor is Calvin, and of course, ang style ng team ng Phoenix. I love it. I like the way Phoenix plays. But ano ko, how is Calvin? Nakikita mo na ba talaga? You are with him day in, day out. You are with him in the court. You can hear him. You can practically smell him, and really know what's going on. Nakikita mo na ba talaga ang pagbabago, Coach Topics? And are you concerned at all na baka mag-slide back si Calvin?
I think at the back of my mind, it's I have to be vigilant, Com. Kasi alam ko si Calvin, alam ko yung control niya, but I don't obviously control what other players are gonna do. I mean, I'm not saying that they're gonna hurt him, but as much as possible, we've been vigilant, the whole coaching staff, even his teammates. Kumbaga, alam nila kasi kung anong space yung nilalaro ni Calvin right now, with the opportunity that was given to him. And alam ng team ang difference nang wala si Calvin. We haven't had him for about a year, more than a year, and alam namin yung impact. So alam ng team kung gaano ka-importante si Calvin sa amin. Whether he's on the court or off the court, alam namin yung nabibigay niya. So yung value sa amin ni Calvin right now is really big. So we wanna make sure we're gonna protect him. Ang sinabi nga namin sa kanya, you still want to be the same Calvin Abueva that everybody loves, but kumbaga we're here to support him. Yun po yung isang bagay that we committed to Calvin. So hindi mawawala yung Com. I mean, alam niyo naman po sa court, you turn into a different species. So hindi pwedeng mawala. But I think what I like about Calvin now, for the past games that he's played, every time may mga incident na nasaktan siya or merong, kumbaga, accidental na contact, he always looks at me and say, Coach, kumbaga parang he's telling me na I need your help, parang gano'n. So sabi ko nga po sa kanya, di ba rin ako ma-technical, Calvin, wag lang ikaw. That's why yun yung nangyari sa akin last game, 2 games ago. Ako yung na-technical, sabi niya sa akin. Hindi naman niya ako inawat. Sabi, idol yung
Oo.
lumapit sa akin. Madamay siya. So,
Kaysa naman siya technical nga naman.
yeah,
Tama
sabi
naman
niya,
yan, no?
"Coach, di kita tutulungan, bahala ka sa buhay mo ha, kasi baka matapay ako." But sabi ko ako, "Ma'am, I'll take that. I'll take that. That's the commitment I gave him." Sabi ko nga sa kanya, the event of talk and text back last 2 years ago or more than a year ago, the ghost of that is still haunts me up to now, Com. And I've made it a commitment to him na kung meron ako magagawa, I'll make sure I'm not gonna put you in that situation again.
Well, it's good. It's good to hear that from his coach directly dahil marami siyempre mga concern. Hindi dahil alam na may mangyayari or yun nga ang gagawin ni Calvin, but because people just want him to be there. He's such a colorful player na kailangan siya ng PBA. Lalo na in a situation, an environment like the bubble. And talking about colorful players, Coach Topics, another guy that has been so impressive, and I think, as far as I'm concerned, he's probably top 5 right now in the league, is Matthew Wright. He has really blossomed. But 2 questions about him. One is, we know he can score. We know he can play. But what kind of a leader is Matthew Wright on the floor? And secondly, how coachable is Matthew Wright?
Com, at the start of the season, I think ang magandang nangyari sa amin is there were clarity of roles in this team. So I was open to the team about Matt taking a lot of shots. Everybody knows it. And we know, kasi alam namin Com yung value ni Matt eh. I know that the more touches he gets, the better our team will be. Kasi the way he attracts everybody. And so far, Com, for the past 9 games that we've played, Matt is averaging 7 assists. And all his career, he's been shooting. Even last game, Com, that was the first time he scored, I think, 12 points, but he had 10 assists. How can you go wrong with the guy that's so all his career he's been an offensive threat, but now to see him pass the ball and share that basketball,
Right.
it's really something magical. Kasi kung mahirap yun for a Matthew Wright na, I mean, he's a star player. I mean, he's a gifted player. For him to sacrifice yung scoring niya to make his teammates look good is really a sign of maturity for Matt. And sky's the limit for him, Com. And now he's even saying na, "Coach, let me defend the best player on the other team." And you just have to trust him. You know, he's open to that, and he's coachable, Com. He's so competitive. He hates to lose. Yun yung ano niya. He hates to lose. So you have to give it to him because he also works hard for that, Com. I mean, wala akong masabi sa kanya. He's so competitive.
We had him on the show at bago pa nagsimula ang bubble, talagang ganado na si Matt. At I know him because even when he was in the youth team, talagang nasubaybayan ko si Matthew Wright. And alam ko na one day he would become a real big star sa PBA. But you know, your team is not only about one player, and that's the good thing about Phoenix. And now you're in really that position where you can make a big run. But it's obviously malayo pa kayo sa peak niyo because kumbaga kayo pa lang talagang dumadating yung you're now in condition, you're in shape.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you expect among your players to pick up the game dito, Coach Topic, as you make your run towards the playoffs? We've seen Jason Perkins have tremendous games. I think he should be a candidate for most improved player. We've seen RJ Azul play really well last night. And of course, Justin Chua, Brian Heruela, all of these guys na parang nagpapakita. But is there a particular person na inaasahan mo pang umangat ng laro dito, Coach Topic?
Com, you've mentioned those names, and those names are really helping us. But there's also other guys, those unheralded guys that we have.
Right.
De Marcelo plays 8 minutes on a regular basis, but he's averaging 1 block per game. And those are big blocks. And yun yung gusto ko kay Dave because siya mismo, he knows yung minutes that he's gonna play. He's proud of that. He plays less than 10, but sabi niya nga, yung 10 minutes na yun, he's gonna make the most out of those minutes. And also, even Jansen Rios is playing well. R.R. Garcia, he's been solid all throughout. And, you know, I think ang maganda dun is the support, Com, that we get. You've mentioned about Calvin, Matt, Jason, Justin, and then si RJ Azul. But ang dami, Com, eh. I think what's good about us right now is even Alex Malyari has finally, after being out for a while, So medyo malalim yung rotation namin, and that's the advantage, especially that the scheduling of the games right now are back to back.
Oo.
So the deeper your lineup is, I think the better you have an opportunity to go all the way. Kasi nga yung wear and tear like for example, we just played last night, tas may practice kami ngayon because there's and then other teams are playing back to back games.
Yeah.
And that's really especially
Actually, I was gonna ask you about that, Coach Topics. Nakikita na natin ngayon, talagang ang mga teams tuloy-tuloy ang laro. They have back-to-back games. Sabi mo nga, do you think this favors your team in particular?
Yes, I do believe in a way. Actually, it's just a matter of how you're gonna use your breaks well, yung mga off. Kasi nga, we have a schedule, but sometimes you have to reward the players to rest. Kasi they could be there physically, but mentally wala na sila. Or they could be there mentally pero physically drained. So I think that's where the balance will come in. So kailangan alagaan mo. That's why, yun nga, we always look at the minutes ng mga players. We try to manage their minutes na, kumbaga, hindi mo sila sasagarin. But Matthew has been averaging, I think, 40 plus minutes. Jason, 35 plus. Pero ang ano naman sa kanila is, yung minutes nila, is medyo maganda yung pagkakahati-hati. So hindi naman siya sagad. So yun lang, yun yung time management, right. I think is very important.
Okay, sabi mo kanina, Coach Topics, you came to the bubble, wala kayong sinasabing gusto nyo mag-champion, just be the best version of yourself. Last year in the Philippine Cup, umabot kayo ng semifinals, and it was one of the best performances of Phoenix in its franchise history. Now, obviously, that's something that you are also setting as a goal. But are you setting a higher bar for yourself deep inside? Expectations mo, not only for yourself, but for the team?
This is kind of major deep but I just told the team, if you're gonna talk about this bubble 20 years from now, and you share it with your kids or your grandkids, ang isang tanong lang dun is, during the bubble, were you a giver or a taker? So those two questions are kind of deep on how, kasi just like what you said, we could be takers na puro na lang kabig, puro complain, puro angal, being the victim, or were you a taker? Or were you a giver? When you say a giver, kumbaga, you're here to serve, you're here to inspire, you're here to fulfill and bring joy to the people. So yun yung naging question. Hindi yun is mag-champion ba tayo dito? We don't talk about it, as much as it's there right now. Even if you're gonna look at the stats, medyo kumbaga makikita mo siya and you're gonna get worried about it, but you have to be true kung ano yung pinunta namin dito. Kasi nga, right. Just like what you mentioned, a few years ago we were in the semis. That's the best franchise history, but sa amin right now, we don't wanna be caught up with the win-loss situation. And I'll never forget what Alex Compton told me before the start of the bubble, because when he heard about the news, ni-remind niya ako, Coach, just be the best that you could be. Don't get caught up with the win and loss story, right. Because yun nga, yung experience niya rin. So I'm basing it on the people that's been supportive of me, sharing with me their experiences. So ang maganda rin dito kasi, like, sa venue namin, we could jog. Meron kaming area dito. So, I get to talk to Coach Leo Austria. I get to talk to Kaloy Garcia. Even Tito Pictolero. Yung mga nandito na matatagal. And, we get to share. I mean, I'm really so blessed here, kasi yung mga nandito is mga veteran coaches na rin sa PBA. So, I'm one of the new guys here. So, I'm just picking up kung ano yung makukuha ko sa nila and matututo from them.
Which is my next question. As a first-time head coach, experiencing being a head coach for the first time in an environment like the PBA bubble, sa tingin mo ba may advantage sa'yo or mas maraming disadvantages? Sabi mo nga, makakausap ka ibang head coach. In terms of relating to the team itself, to your team. Kasi syempre, alam naman natin, pag regular environment, yung dating normal, hindi mo naman nakikita yung mga player mo araw-araw. Pero ngayon na nasa bubble kayo, you live with each other 24 hours a day. So is this an advantage for a first-time head coach like you?
Sobrang laking bagay. Kasi po, yung time mo with the players, kasi especially I always make sure that I'm gonna build that relationship. I guess
Right.
one of the things that I've learned even with my LPU coaching experiences, gaano ka importante yung relationship. Yun yung isang bagay ko that I've natutunan ko kay Coach Yeng. The reason that he's really been a successful coach is the way he treated his players. So yung Com is not, kumbaga yung araw-araw na kasama mo sila and sobrang swerte dito Com kasi pag silip mo na makikita mo yung player mo. Tapos they would come up to you like every day. May bisita ako dito sa kwarto ko of a player that wants to talk to me. I think yun yung nawala ko, especially with the technology.
Right.
Na wala na yung face-to-face conversation. So yun yung advantage that I see here. So yung experience, shared experiences, every single day kasama mo yung mga players mo. So it's up to you kung paano mo siya gagamitin. And I really take advantage of that opportunity.
Well, I'm sure that yan po mga kaibigan ang naging panayam kay Coach Topex Robinson. In the interest of time, isa na lang namang ang kanyang sinasabi lang naman dito yung kanyang paglalakbay. His journey towards becoming a head coach ng PBA has been truly a blessing for him. Ika nga ng isa nating Twitter follower, si Jet Sanchez, grabe ang journey ni Coach Topex Robinson. At tunay naman talaga dahil from a 44th pick overall na hindi po naipirma. Tapos naging free agent ng Red Bull to the time now that he has become head coach ng Phoenix, talagang malaking blessing para sa kanya. Good. Maraming salamat kay Coach Topex Robinson. Oy, kamusta po kay paring Al Mendoza? Naku, paring Al, thank you for tuning in. Kay Roman Santos, partner Roman, dyan sa San Pablo City, magandang umaga po sa inyo dyan. Si Dines Reder, ang ating kasama dito sa Power and Play. And of course, Leo Sarte, good morning. Si, sabi niya, good luck kay 3D. Nature Demos, Go Joyride Philippines, marami po salamat sa inyo. And of course, si Rose Ganvi, good morning po sa lahat na nakikinig kami dito sa Bislig City. Wow, ang dami po nating mga kaibigan na all over the Philippines na nanonood ngayon. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Alright, hindi pa po tayo tapos. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin tayo dito sa Power and Play. Alam niyo po, recently si Bianca Pagtanganan ay nagkaroon ng success sa LPGA. Ngayon, naghahanda na siya for the US Open. Si Yuka Saso, mga kaibigan, currently is 5 strokes behind dun po sa Toto Japan Classic na nilalaro this weekend. At alam niyo ba po anong kanilang isang common factor? Ito po susunod natin magiging guest. Siya po ay dating 3-time World Junior Champion, naging idolo ni Tiger Woods for a while. Nakasabay si Phil Mickelson at saka si Ernie Els. At siya po ang coach, dating coach ni Yuka, ngayon coach ni Bianca Pagtanganan. Ang ating po susunod na panauhin, again, we caught up with him a couple of days ago. Walang iba kundi si Carito Villaroman. Panoorin po ninyo to. Magandang araw, Coach Carito. Good to see you.
Good day, sir. Good day, sir Nolly. Happy to be here.
Oo, nakakatuwa at mukhang you are looking fit, looking good in this pandemic. Before we begin, I guess ano ba pinagagawa mo ngayong panahon ng pandemya, Coach Carito?
Most of the time po, I'm just here at home taking care of my family, and I would do Zoom with my students, especially with Bianca also. She is in the States, so before she plays, we would talk and communicate about what needs to be done on the golf course.
Alam mo, magandang topic na pag-usapan talaga yan, yung pambihirang performance ni Bianca Pagtanganan so far as a rookie ng LPGA. And we will get to that point. But, before I get there, currently you are training Bianca and you remain as a coach. Sino-sino ba ang mga hinahawakan mo mga other players na may potential, Coach Carito?
Well, I have a few junior golfers na tinuturuan right now. I mean, to name them, si Celine Abalos, who is the granddaughter of Chairman Abalos. No?
Okay.
She won the European Juniors. Oh, well, she finished second in the European Juniors, I think 2 years ago. And I also have Raja Crisostomo, Santino Pineda, Lorea Duque, Joseph Bernos. But of course, Jubim Carlos, who won the
Yes.
2018 PGT Order of Merit. Siya isa sa mga professional golfers na tinuturuan ko rin. And a couple of collegiate players also that goes to the States with the golf scholarship. Sila Raymart Tolentino, Lester Lagman, and also my son, Miguel Villaroman, who is also playing in the States. Yeah.
Following the footsteps of the father. Naku, sayang. Alam mo, may kilala ko, si Carl Corpus, coming out of Ateneo. I think he's now with a university in the US, no?
Yeah, San Jose State. Yeah, I used to coach him. I used to coach him also for a while.
Wow. Oh, naging guest na rin namin siya dito sa Power and Play. Now, how would you assess currently our golf program, Coach Carito? From the junior golf program, the grassroots, and all the way to our current state ng mga professionals. What do you think is bringing about this boom of very good players?
I think we have a very, very good junior golf program here in the Philippines. No, I'm one of the product of the junior golf program. We have a couple of tournaments during school season. We have school season tournaments also. And during summertime, we have a bunch of tournaments leading up to the Junior World qualifying and the Junior World events itself. And nowadays, there are so many junior events all over Asia and also in the States and even Australia and Europe. So there's a lot of tournaments to be played in.
You nabanggit ko nga kanina, no, how spectacular you played when you were in your younger days. You were one of those that was really coming out as one of the top prospects. In fact, there is a story told over and over again about how Tiger Woods was behind you. Somebody was asking a question, who was that guy hitting in front of him? And he said, that's Carito Villaroman. And we know na nakalaban mo during those years, sila Phil Mickelson, si Ernie Els, Shigeki Maruyama, all of these great players now. I want to ask, bakit ganon, Carito, no? Bakit ang Pilipino, and this does not only stay in golf, it includes basketball, it includes even tennis. I have a niece now playing very well as a youngster, si Alex. And it seems like pag bata tayo, we are at par, if not even better than the world's best. Pero after a while, parang naiiwanan tayo. What do you think is the explanation for that?
Well, I can only talk about my experiences, no, Sir Nolly. I think we have the talent, we have the gift, and we have also the eagerness to learn and to play good golf. Ang problema lang, I think, is we don't really have the proper tutelage or coaching, especially during my time, no? When I was playing, I think I was just playing with sheer perseverance and with just talent, no? Pero wala akong mentor, nobody was really teaching me the proper golf mechanics. So at the age of 17, I already have a bad back and I dislocated my left shoulder because
talaga? Wow.
Yeah, because of just hitting so many golf balls, no, without really having the right training or physical stretching or weightlifting. So wala yung mga yon when I was growing up. So but I was able to compete against the best because I wanted it so much and I practiced so much.
And of course, natural talent mo, Carito, and that's what I'm saying. No, talagang ang Pilipino are gifted in that sense, no. But sabi mo nga, kulang nung panahon na yon. Pero sa tingin mo ba malaki na ang pinagbago ngayon? Nandiyan ka na, andiyan ang marami, no? Sila Jennifer Rosales na nagko-coach na magkaroon ng experience also in the US and many others. Do you think that the landscape has changed with new coaches and of course new technology coming to our shores?
Definitely. I think yung mga experiences namin, especially for me, yung mga kulang na hindi ko nagawa, and also talking to Mike Weir and seeing how Phil Mickelson and Ernie Els trained, we were able to study how they do it. I've had a lot of coaches during my time, like I had Mark Hunter, Mark O'Grady, Jim Flick,
Wow.
Martin Hall, yeah, Mike Wilson, who used to coach Mike Weir, kasi si Mike Weir was a classmate of Ramon Brobio. So
Okay.
we became very good friends. So he was able to share with us kasi nung time na nananalo siya ng Masters, kami, we're still here in the Asian Tour, trying to
Oo.
make it. So we asked him, ano ba ginagawa mo? How come you became that successful? So
Oo.
shinare niya sa amin yung mga coaches nila, yung mga trainers nila sa States. And I mean, they have a physical trainer, they have mental coaches, they have their own golf swing, even short game coaches. So we were able to tap on those coaches also
Very interesting.
during, yeah.
Oh, very interesting that so many aspects of the game ngayon talagang being taken care of. Of course, alam natin ang nangyari kay Bryson DeChambeau, nagpalaki siya ng katawan. We know the stories of many other golfers who have really focused on certain weaknesses in their game. But before I go to that, alam niyo po, si Carito Villaroman, mga kaibigan, aside from the fact that he was a highly regarded golf player coming out of the collegiate ranks, siya rin po ang may hawak ng world record pagdating sa lowest score in a junior world championship. He scored 273 back in 1991. Oh, sorry, 1985. And just to put that in perspective, mga kaibigan, Tiger Woods in 1991, when he won a World Junior Championship, scored 286 or 13 strokes higher than Carito. Ganyan po ang kagaling itong mamang ito nung panahon na yon. But aside from that, of course, Carito, you have played in the PGA Tour, Corn Ferry Tour back in 2002. You played in the LaSalle Bank Open. You played in the State Farm Open. Can you give us a little bit, a sneak peek, kung ano ba ang buhay dyan sa PGA Tour? Kasi it's very similar to the LPGA, I guess, tour.
Yes.
Gaano ka-challenging at ano ang pinakamahirap na part ng pagiging parte ng PGA Tour?
During the 2002, I was able to travel with my best friend, Ramon Brobio. We've been touring here in for quite some time already. So sabi namin, said, let's try it out in the States kasi we're not getting any younger. So let's try and see how tough it is sa PGA Tour.
Yes.
So we did that since we went there early so that we can prepare for the Q school. So before that, we were 6 months before the Q school. We tried to qualify for the Buy.com. It used to be a Buy.com tour before.
Right.
So magma-Monday qualifying kami. So if you make it on that Monday qualifying, you get into the tournament. So I was able to make it through the Monday qualifying. So ang hirap kasi ng tour because you have like 120 to 140 players vying for 3 to 5 spots every week. So if you don't make it to that qualifying, you don't get into the next to that event itself. So you have to fly to the next event again to pre-qualify. So when we got to the qualifying school, we already paid off our qualifying fee and everything. We felt hindi pa rin kami talaga ready. That's why we backed out. So,
Okay.
yun yung story doon.
Pero
when we were,
yun lahat bayad ninyo. Yan lahat gastos ninyo. Ganong
Yes.
kahirap yun.
Well, at that time, I was being helped by PLDT President Tony Boy Cuanco. So siya yung tumulong sa akin to play on all those events.
Okay. So, tinatanong ko lang yan because right now, aside from all your credentials and all your successes, you are now also credited as one of those that molded a couple of golfers na nagpapakita talaga ngayon at talagang hinahangaan natin. And of course, we all know that you have been the coach and you continue to be the coach of Bianca Pagdanganan, our rookie sensation sa LPGA. And you were once a coach of Yuka Saso, the leading money winner in the JLPGA. So let me ask about the two women that you've coached. How did you get involved? Unahin na muna natin si Yuka because after a couple of years, you disengaged, of course. But how did you get to know Yuka and paano mo siya naging student, Carito?
Well, after playing 20 years in the Asian Tour, and when my son Carlo started getting into the game, sabi ko medyo maglalaylo muna ako sa tour, no?
Yeah.
And I started coaching. So when I started coaching a lot of junior golfers, Yuka's parents approached me. Actually, a friend of mine approached me because Yuka used to be living in Bulacan. So she would drive up to Camp Aguinaldo every Sunday just to take lessons from me. No? And then eventually, she moved from Bulacan all the way here to Santa Rosa, where I live, so that she could be closer to me and we could train together. Ayan. Yun yung storya ni Yuka. Yeah.
Wow. I see. Okay. Si Bianca naman, paano mo nasimulan itong relationship mo with Bianca?
The same thing with Bianca, no? Si Bianca kasi lives in Quezon City before. I would see her practicing all the time at Camp Aguinaldo. So
Wow.
one time the dad approached me and said that, hey, Kadito, can you look at my daughter? May potential ba? You know. So I looked at her. I said, she has all the potential in the world to be good at this sport. Kasi I could see she concentrates a lot and she has that passion to be a good golfer.
So okay, I want to ask about that because obviously when you look at the talent, having all your experience sa paglalaro ng golf, all that experience of in the Asian Tour, trying out your luck dun sa US, what is the first thing you look at from a golfer na inilalapit sa'yo? In the case of Bianca and Yuka, for instance, ano yung mga nakita mo sa kanila na sa yung sarili? Unang-una, I want to handle them, and pangalawa, this golfer will go a long way.
I think yung love for the game. You seldom see that on kids, no? Most of the kids talaga when they play, it's such a individual sport and a lonesome sport, no? So when you see players like Yuka and Bianca who are always in the golf course, you see them trying their hardest to do well or to practice as much as they could, no? Nakikita mo talaga yung passion nila to excel and I think that's what drove me to have them out kasi ganun din naman kami nila Ramon ng araw. All we want to do is practice, play and get better.
Yeah. Well, yun naman talaga yun ang addicting sa golf. Talagang you just want to play and all the time. And do you think itong passion na to ni Bianca at ni Yuka will keep them in good stead? In other words, malaking maitutulong ito now that they are actually in the LPGA and the JLPGA.
I think the more that they will strive, to become better players. I mean, now that they are there, they're living their dream. I think it will motivate them to try harder.
All right. Let's go to Bianca in particular dahil siya hanggang ngayon you're training her. She has now changed the game of women's golf in a sense. With her power and I guess her poise. We've seen her power. She averages about over 300 yards mula sa tee, and yet she has the touch of a finesse player, the poise of a good short game player. What do you think, or what has impressed you the most in that sense? And do you think there are holes in her game na ngayon yun ang kino-concentrate ninyo na mapagaling pa niya?
Bianca's always been a good driver of the ball, no? She's straight and long, no? Yun yung talaga advantage niya of all the lady golfers, especially in the LPGA, no? When I was caddying for her for the Q series nga, sinasabi ko, Biancs, wala pa nakaka-out-drive sa atin, even yung 3-wood mo, napapantayan lang nila. So, that's why I was so excited to see how she would fare against the best in the world, no? Especially against Van Dam and Maria Fassi. So, I've always thought that she'll be in the top 5 in the driving distance category. But I was so surprised when she was the longest driver out there.
But sabi nga nila, when you are long, sometimes merong butas yung short game mo. But in Bianca's case, it looks like she can control that power with any club. Do you think that's a fair assessment, Coach Carito?
Uh, it's something that we've been working on also, no? I mean, we know that when you're hitting the ball that far, you have to give up some of the control, no? That's why what we did was we tried to eliminate some of her wrist cuff on her iron play, and
Okay.
we worked on hitting a lot of controlled shots, like 3-4 shots, and trying to um, eliminate some of the spin of the ball para mas kontrolado siya.
Mas kontrolado. Oh, okay, Coach. For the golfers out there na nakikinig sa atin, can you tell us the secret behind the power of Bianca?
Ever since kasi when she was little, she's very very flexible, no. And one thing that I remember teaching her a lot, that I focused on, is her backswing turn, no. I wanted to make sure that she turns as much as she could, so that she could generate a lot of speed from her hips. So I think that's where her power is coming from
Her
that
power.
big shoulder turn and a fast hip rotation.
How much has technology helped you as a coach now? Seeing all of these ladies generate all that torque and all that power, how have you used technology to polish their game?
A lot. I mean, I would video her swing. We would look at her numbers, especially her swing plane, no, the lines. I think that's why, even though we're so far apart, we were able to communicate.
Coach, parehong mga estudyante mo, si Bianca at saka si Yuka, parehong sobrang lakas ng power. Yuka is also leading the JLPGA in driving distance. We know that she's one of the longest hitters as well there in the tour. Ano ba to? Dahil sa style na binibigay mo, is this a natural thing for these ladies to have all that power with off the tee?
Maybe some of it, no, Sir Nolly, but I think they're physically gifted as well. That's why they hit it so long.
Oh. If you compare the two, Coach, anong difference ni Yuka from Bianca?
I think
And Bianca from Yuka. Oh.
Actually, if you look at them move their lower body, no, they're almost identical in swinging their hips. But the thing is, of course, Bianca is a bit taller. She's a little bit more muscular. She's been working out a lot, so I think that the physical training with Coach Janet Alexander also helped.
All right. Coach, you have transitioned from being a pro player to a terrific coach. How difficult was the transition? And the second question na kaakibat niyan is, what makes you so good as a coach, Coach Carito?
Sir Nolly, I think you're only as good as your players, no? I cannot really take all the credit. But the thing is, when I was younger, kasi I was playing golf just on my own, no? I didn't really have a coach. I would just watch players like Jack Nicklaus and Jerry Pate do it, no? And it's just your practice and perseverance. That's why I became really good. And then when I turned professional, there are certain shots that I cannot do on the golf course. I would just hit the ball straight, or I'd fade it a little bit, no? But when I started playing with good players like David Toms or like Ernie Els during our junior years, they would move the ball around. They can hit it left to right to left, high, low. So I said, I cannot compete this way. So I started researching. That's when I started taking lessons from different coaches until I found the right coach for me.
Oh, that's so. And yung nakuha mo doon sa coach na yon, that's what you're imparting naman sa mga estudyante mo.
Yes.
All right.
All the things, all my experiences as a player. I mean, if I cannot do it myself, I won't teach it to you. So that's
No, that's a
how
good principle.
that's how I learned how to teach also. So
Okay,
yeah.
I have about 2 questions left to you. Well, medyo naubusan po tayo ng oras, pero ayun po si Coach Carito Villaroman, mga kapatid, ang coach ni Bianca Pagtangana na dating coach ni Yuka Saso. Very, very humble person, but certainly very, very accomplished at ang laking bagay sa naging career ng ating mga players, and hopefully tuloy-tuloy ang pag-unlad at pag-angat ng ating mga golfers. Ngayon inaantabayanan natin sila, baka makapasok sila. Right now, I think they're within the top 40 ng mga golfers sa mga kababaihan. So they have a chance to actually qualify for the Tokyo Olympics. Imagine niyo yan, Bianca and Yuka sa Olympics. Wow! And it will be played in Tokyo, na kung saan sanay na si Yuka. Sana nga magkatotoo yan at hopefully tayo ay makakuha ng isa pang medalya dyan sa Tokyo Olympics. Alright mga kaibigan, di paano? Tapos na naman tayo sa Power and Play. Marami po salamat sa lahat ng ating naging mga panauhin, and of course lahat po sa inyo na nanood at nakinig sa atin yung araw pong ito. Tandaan na, palamig na ang ating araw at mga gabi. Ilabas na ang mga jacket. Ayan na ang hanging amihan, pero mag-iingat pa rin tayo sa ating kalusugan. Tandaan po, andyan pa rin ang pandemya. Magtakip na mukha, isang face mask at face shield, social distancing at lagi maghugas ng inyong mga kamay. Paano? Tapos na tayo. Again, lagi po natin sinasabi, pag Sabado, bawal ang masungit. At sa lahat po ng ating gawain, ad maiorem Dei gloriam, all for the greater glory of God. Happy Sports Weekend, mga kapatid.